Hello everyone, welcome to my nature diaries. I'm kind of flipping through my nature journal or nature diary because I am on my very last entry, this half page I'm going to be working on today. So while I'm working on this last entry, I thought I would share some tips and maybe ideas or things that I feel like I kind of learned while working on it. The first thing I learned is that it's okay to use a reference photo if you want to nature journal something. You don't have to be outside and draw the plant or item that you're looking at. And I think sometimes we feel guilty if we can't do that, but it's not easy always for us to maybe get outside, take the materials we need, or just to be able to have that focused moment to be able to journal something while being outdoors. So feel free to take, again, photos, references, and come back to your studio or your kitchen table and draw. One thing I feel like I've kind of learned is that it's okay to draw in pencil first. It's just a good way to just make yourself draw, especially if you're intimidated in starting out in ink. I'm just now inking things without drawing them first, and I'm never as satisfied with them as I am when I'm doing a drawing with pencil and then ink. But it's okay if you want to take your time with that, because the main thing is to make a piece that you're going to enjoy and to draw, paint, make art at the level that you feel comfortable with, and you will definitely improve as you keep drawing and painting and keep practicing. The third thing that I'd like to share that I've learned is that making a nature journal, especially for me, or nature diary, is a great way to experiment with different types of art media. Like, I'm using a dip pen, you could be using microns, I've used brush pens, glass pens, and ink, and I've done some other dried materials as far as plants and putting them in with Mod Podge. So I feel like you can really do a lot and be super creative with a nature journal. And because it is a sketchbook and it's something that you're making mostly for yourself, you can feel a little bit more free to experiment and try out different techniques that you can eventually translate into other art maybe that you would want to make. It's so important, I feel, to be able to experiment in art so we don't feel like we're becoming complacent or we get bored, whatever it is that happens to creatives. And again, I do feel like this is a good place to experiment again with your plants and your materials, unless you're trying to draw in a particular style, like botanical style or something like that. But because I'm making a nature diary, which I will probably do a video and explain a little bit more what I feel like a nature diary is, I feel like this is a great place to, again, be creative and experiment. And this kind of leads me into the fourth thing that I feel like I've kind of picked up or learned while making this nature diary, is that just like using different art materials and media, I've been able to try to push myself a little bit experimenting with different styles. And I don't know about you, but I always feel like that's such a hard place for me mentally to go. Like, how do I do a different style? And yet I just felt like creatively I wanted to do something different many times. And so I did some things that were a little bit more realistic, more involved with drawing. And then there were other things that I wanted to just get done. I wanted to just draw them or paint them and keep it loose as much as possible. And I feel like I still need to push myself in that area so much more. But I do think some of that has to do with the paper that I'm using, the watercolor paper, because it isn't super great quality. I feel like that limits my techniques sometimes, and I'm using techniques that don't necessarily always work well with this paper, but that's okay. I feel like that's just all part of the learning experience. Let me know, are you the kind of person that likes to practice and research and do all those things before you do something, or do you just like to make art and just see where it takes you? Because I'm kind of like that, and I don't mind practicing and researching to a level for sure, but if that's all that I'm doing, that gets really boring for me fast, and I would rather just make art and then see where it goes from there. Before I finish up with my last thing that I've learned, I would like to invite you to subscribe, share, comment, and of course like this video. And your comments, I can't even tell you how encouraging they are. They really help me want to continue to make art, and especially to share it, because I do love sharing it and hearing your feedback and comments as well. So just want to get that out there, and thanks for watching so far, this far along in the video as well. The fifth thing that I feel like I've really taken away from making this nature diary is the writing part. I really love writing and having something to write about with my illustration. I can't even tell you how much I have enjoyed that. And I have been bullet journaling and using art with it as well, and I love doing that. But then I realized that I wanted to make nature illustrations, and I wanted to write things about the nature that I was drawing, but it was my diary, so I didn't really want everybody to be reading my diary, and I wanted to kind of share my art. So doing this nature diary, nature journal, has really been a way to, like, here, you can read this, because the diary part is just more like maybe just memories of what was happening that day. And so it's not super private by any means. But I really do love putting writing and the art together. And what other art medium can you think? I'm sure there's something out there I'm probably forgetting, but let me know in the comments if you know something else. But I just love the idea that we can make art, something beautiful, and then we can write something next to it. And you could make it whatever you want, but that's one thing that I have really loved, is seeing the writing along with the pictures that I'm drawing or painting. I'd love to hear from you in the comments if there's something that you have gotten a takeaway on, or maybe more than one thing from nature journaling, or making an art journal, or any kind of sketchbook art. What have you learned? And I'm sure other people want to hear all about it as well. Just remember that you are an amazing and creative person, and keep making art no matter what. Until next time, bye.